Hi, thank you, Amrita, for that wonderful introduction, and welcome everybody. As Amrita just mentioned, I'll be taking you all to a virtual tour of the world of Lavani. So let me start by sharing the presentation. Uh, so before we start, everyone knows what Lavani is, and Amrita has just mentioned what Lavani is. So I'll start with my first encounter with Lavani. It will be very interesting or shocking for many of us to know that I used to detest love. So as the Bollywood films, they say that nafrat hi pyar ki pehli bunyad hoti hai or hatred is the first step of love. It exactly happened with me because I used to feel whatever little exposure that I had about Lavani, I had formed a very negative opinion about it. I used to feel that it is such a cheap and vulgar art form. And I used to feel ashamed growing up as a Maharashtrian boy in a middle class surrounding. I used to feel that why don't we have a rich heritage like Kathak and Bharatnatyam and Odissi and Kathakali and all the other states have such a vibrant and uh, cultured things and Hindustani classical music, Carnatic classical music. Why not? Why don't we have it? Why don't Maharashtra has something similar? And I had formed this opinion. But then in 2001, I happened to watch a live Lavani performance by an eminent artist from the Sangeet Bari background, and that completely changed the perspective. Because in her dance and in her singing, there was that captivating power, there was that instant connect. And I felt as if she's performing exclusively for me. That changed the whole thing, whole game. And I also happened to have friends from the theater world, Chetan Datar, the playwright, who's not with us anymore, but he was a big fan of Lavani. So he introduced me to different Lavani shows that would happen in Mumbai then. They still continue to happen, and we'll talk about that. But he started taking me and other theater lovers to these shows, and that's how I started my interaction with Lavani. So, although Amrita has mentioned about my work, it's a quick glimpse into it. So, from 2003 and 2008, I wrote multiple features about Lavani and Lavani women in various publications like Time Out Mumbai, Midday, Lok Satta, Maharashtra Times. Then in 2008, I made a documentary film titled Natle Tumcha Sati Behind the Adorned Wheel with Savitri Medhatul. Then in 2014, I wrote a book in Marathi titled Sangeet Bari that was published by Rajhans Prakashan Pune. And 2014 onwards, we have multiple shows and lecture demos, workshops. We come to people's homes for private performances and we participate in various festivals. We recently went to St. Petersburg Baltic House International Festival with our show Lavani Ke Rang, and we had a packed house and more demand, and it was a great reaction, like all our shows usually get. So now we will start with some basic introduction about Lavani, those who are not initiated much into this art form. So four key things that constitutes a Lavani performer's external look. These are the four key things: ghungru, makeup, jewelry, and the Nawari sari or the 9-yard sari. Lavani ghungrus are different. They are larger in size and they are also woven in the metallic chain. Unlike other dance forms, they also create more sound. And if you observe the images, they put cotton pads and on the pads they tie these ghungrus.
नाही बरोबर.
Then the makeup is usual. In the jewelry, there were many jewelry items. So they were the two most prominent jewelry is one is the nose ring, nut, and the other is kambar patta, the waistband. These two are uh, very typical to a Lavani or any Maharashtrian dressing sense. And the hairdo is also quite elaborate. And now they wear artificial flowers, but originally it's the real flowers. And this is how a fully decked up Lavani woman looks like. This is Shakuntalabai Nagarkar, Sangeet Natak Academy awardee. So let's watch a quick glimpse of her dance when we had gone to Sony TV for our Lavani and Lavani Kiran promotional thing. Yes, so that was the glimpse of Lavani. It was a traditional Lavani, dansical Lavani. Now we'll see four key spaces in which Lavani is performed even today. Sangeet Bari, Fadacha Tamasha, these two are the traditional spaces, and popular media and banner shows. Popular media is from the place where you and me have access to Lavani. Like now it's YouTube, Instagram, and it includes films, television shows, live events, everything. Banner shows is a modern concept. It evolved after 1990, and they have derived the form from these traditional spaces, but they have regular shows in different auditoriums. Like in Mumbai, there was, I would say, a place called Damodar Hall, Damodar Natya Griha in Parel. Now it is closed down for repairs, but it will soon start again. And Vishnudas Bhave Hall, Vashi, Valgandharva, Pune. All these places have these banner shows, and people invite them to their private events also. Sangeet Bari and Fadacha Tamasha, these two are the traditional formats, and they still exist. Now I'm going to put up some digits here. Sangeet Bari 13, Tamasha 17, Popular Media 20, banner shows 20. I would request people to unmute themselves and tell me what do these digits signify. Just take a wild guess. Anybody? It's a guess, so you can be wrong.
Number of performers?
No, but thank you.
Number of ghungroos?
No, thank you. One last guess. Sorry?
Number of events happening around a year?
No. You used a particular word which was there, but your answer was wrong. Thank you. The answer is it's the century in which these forms have evolved, have known to have evolved. So popular media, we know it's a 20th century films. Banner shows, although it started after 1980, 90, I classified it into 21st century. And Sangeet Bari has references of these communities to have uh, been into the profession of dance and song since 13th century. Probably they existed even before that, but the documented evidence is from 13th century onwards. And Fadacha Tamasha has the evidence from 17th century onwards. Now we'll see the difference between these two traditional spaces, Fadacha Tamasha and Sangeet Bari. And because we are going to focus on Sangeet Bari, let's see what Sangeet Bari constitutes. So Sangeet Bari has around, there are troops, and it's known as party, Sangeet Party. It's a dance troupe. And each troupe has around 15 artists, 10 to 11 girls, one exclusive singer, 3 music accompanists, and 1 helper. So that constitutes one party. And likewise, there are 7 to 8 to even 10 parties attached to a particular theater. And these are permanent establishments situated all over the state, majorly in Western Maharashtra and Marathwada. There are around 50 such theaters, and each theater hosts around 120 plus artists. I mean, many theaters have between 150 to 250 artists. In Sangeet Bari, there is Lavani and other songs. There are no drama. Like in Fadacha Tamasha, there is various things like Gan Gauran Batawani, Vaganatya, which is a full-fledged folk drama. Sangeet Bari doesn't have all this. It has only song and dance. While technically the entire village can come and watch Fadacha Tamasha, Sangeet Bari has a very select few clientele. And Sangeet Bari artists, all these 15 artists work on revenue sharing model. Although the parties or the troops are owned by 1 or 2 or 3 women, so technically they are called party malkins, party owners, but all the equation of the artist is that of revenue share. There is no fixed salary. And in Sangeet Bari, even now, only 3 musical instruments are used. And these have been used for past more than 100 years. And that is harmonium, which is not the regular harmonium. It's pipette. It's an organ like an instrument, which is played with both feet and both hands. Then there is tabla. So many people get confused that why, I mean, how come Lavani has tabla? But yes, in Sangeet Bari, they use tabla and dholki. Dholki is the most popular, and it's one instrument which people directly associate with Lavani. So these are the 3 instruments, and since past and more than 20 years, they also use dholak. Now, back in 2002, when I started researching about Sangeet Bari, I met many people, and I got some insights and some impressions about this form. So first impression was people would say that it used to happen. Now it's all gone. It doesn't happen anymore. The second impression that I got was it's all about the good looks and youth of the girls who work there. It's nothing to do with art. The art has died. The third impression that I got was all these women who work here are villains. They are going to destroy Indian value and culture. They are going to rob your wealth. They are going to snatch your husbands and destroy your families. And the fourth impression that I heard was all these women are here because they have no choice. They are victims of patriarchy. They are there because they can't do anything else. And basically, every man is there to exploit. So while I must say that there is some element of truth in every statement, broadly, these are misconceptions. And I realized it after I started meeting them, interacting with them, spending time with them. I stayed with them in their residential quarters and in their theaters, and also visited their homes. And I realized that the truth is something else. The first truth is they are matriarchal communities. So there are 3 communities: Bhatu Kollhati, Dombari Kollhati, and Kalwa. Bhatu Kollhati and Dombari Kollhati, they follow Hinduism, and Kalwat follow Islam. But they have similar traditions and customs, which is a woman is the breadwinner of the family. Once she ties ghungroos, she cannot get married, and the children also take her name and her surname, and the matriarchal tradition, matrilineage, that continues. Secondly, they are very much artists. They are not uh, there just for good looks and youth. In fact, many artists who are conventionally not very good looking are in great demand because of their artistry. And third and most important thing is they are entrepreneurs. So if someone wants to, when people decide to award uh, women entrepreneurs, I think these women should also be considered, not just as artists, but also as entrepreneurs. Because traditionally, they look at this art form as business, as a source of their livelihood. And they look at the people who visit them to watch their performance as custom. So dhanda and girai, business and customer. These are very commonly used terms, and there is no inhibition. They use it very openly. But when outsiders listen to these terms, they get different ideas. So now let us go on a virtual tour of these Sangeet Bari theaters. These are the permanent establishment where Lavani happens throughout the year. This is one of the oldest theatre which still exists. It's right in the city of Pune. It's called Arya Bhushan Theatre. And it was established in 1933, and it continues to exist. Unfortunately, it's not in a very great shape today, but there are so many other theatres which are doing a very good business, and art is also thriving there. And if you see the nameplate, so every theater you will have these kind of nameplates where they disclose names of the performing parties or performing troops. This is one theater in Sanaswadi. It is on Pune-Ahmednagar highway. In Sanaswadi, there are 2 big theaters. This is one of them. And it may appear like a chawl or a municipal school, but it's a Lavani theater. And the ground floor has residential quarters. The first floor had performance rooms. This is another theater on Pune-Solapur highway in Solapur district. It's a village called Modnim. And this village is a small village. It has only 10,000 population, but they have 5 theaters and each have more than 200, 250 artists. So out of this 10,000 population, more than 10% are artists. And they reside there because these are residential places. Uh, this picture was taken at 7 p.m. in the evening. Had we taken it after 7:30, you would have seen the empty space full of fully parked with big expensive cars. This is how the residential quarters looks from inside. So they decorate the place with the trophies and the awards and certificates which they have received from all over the state. They also display their pictures and performing pictures. They have TV, fridge, AC, depending on their economic condition. And one typical thing is they have this metal trunk, the storage that you see on the right bottom. Each artist has one such trunk, and they store all their belongings in this. There are common utilities. Every party has 1 or 2 cooks who cook for them. There are servants to take care of all the chores like washing clothes or utensils, cooking, cleaning. For everything, there are helpers. This picture is taken from the stage. This is the performance area. And during the daytime, it's turned into a clothes drying area or recreation area, mobile surfing area, talking area. But in the evening, everything is cleared and it's set for a public show. And there are common utilities. You can be a VIP, but in Sangeet Bari theaters, there are only common toilets and bathrooms. The show time every evening, and except for a few days of Diwali, the theaters are open throughout the year. So you can walk in anytime at around 7 o'clock, and the stage show begins at 7:30. 7:30, the bell rings, and one of the parties or one of the troops starts and they start performing. The peti, tabla, dholki, the music accompanies, singer, dancers, everyone comes on stage and they start performing. After exactly 15 minutes, bell rings again and they leave the stage at whatever point their song is, they stop abruptly and they leave the stage and the next troupe comes and they start performing. And like this, it continues till all the troops get a turn or get a chance to perform. So in Marathi or even in Hindi, Bari means turn. So turn by turn they perform, and that's why it's known as Sangeet Bari. Next, you have private baita or private performance. So the first floor rooms that you saw from outside, this is how the rooms look from inside. Now this picture is of the most expensive, one of the most expensive rooms. It has 2 ACs, it has nicely decorated seating arrangement and well painted and all. So it has a rate of 10,000 rupees per hour. Likewise, there are rooms which start their rent from 2,000, 2,500. So when the customers walk in the theater, they approach one particular troupe and then they see which room is vacant or which is as per their budget. And they all go into that room, the customers and the performing troupe, and they start performing. And whatever is the rate that is either given in advance if the customer is new, or if they are known ones, then the payment can happen simultaneously or after the performance. One more thing is on stage, they wear 9-yard saris, but in private performances, they wear 6-yard saris. This is another shock that people get when they go there, when sometimes I take them there. So they feel very unusual that how come a Lavani happened without a 9-yard sari. But that has been the tradition for past more than 40-45 years, that private performances, they will wear 6-yard saris, and on stage or on in outside of the theater space, when they perform anywhere else the Lavani is performed, then they wear 9-yard sari. This is one interesting thing that I encountered when I first visited. And when I first saw this money showering or money giving thing, it's called Daulat Zada. It was a big cultural shock for me, because the background that I came from, giving money to somebody in their hand was not considered very respectable way. So I felt that, oh, this is so disrespectful. But soon when I started uh, spending time with them, I realized that this is their way of appreciation. So even the artists feel that the customer is not liking our performance until and unless the currency notes comes out, and this is their way. And here I would like to deviate a little bit and share a personal incident. So when I started working with these artists and curating their shows, once we were rehearsing in one of the theaters in Pune, and all the artists were there. And then we got a news that one of the very rich customer has walked in for something, for hosting a private performance. And then he requested, can he watch our rehearsal? So I said, okay, you are more than welcome. So he came and sat, and then he sat for a couple of minutes, and then after a few songs he got up and he left. But before leaving, he gave 500 rupees to every artist. And then at the end, he came to Shakuntala Bai, who's one of the most senior artists today, and he gave her 1,000 rupees. And then he came to me and he gave me also 1,000 rupees. So I was so happy, and I was so happy that first of all I got paid, and secondly I got paid at par with Shakubai. So that the value was much more than 1,000 rupees. And I realized that, we always look at things in a very unidirectional way. So everything is not as simple or as straight as it looks like. Let me take you through the training and rehearsals that they do. So every artist, because it's a community-driven business or art form, the children who are born into these families, they observe their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, aunts, uncles performing or playing instruments. And they learn by just observing. But of course, they are given basic training. The boys, of course, for the playing the musical instruments, they are trained in a more rigorous manner. And the girls are trained in footwork for a couple of months. The basic footwork is taught, and then they are ready to perform. So once they attain the age of 18, um, they can start performing. These communities are married to ghungroos, as we saw. They were originally nomadic tribes, but for past more than 120 years, they are settled. They are settled in Western Maharashtra and Marathwada, and even North Maharashtra. They are matriarchal. So a mother's name, surname, and caste is assigned to the children. They have exclusive patrons. So they have relationships with one of the customers, and that relationship continues as long as both the parties are willing. And when one of the parties, either the dancer or the patron feels that it's enough, they break it and they are free to move on. So it's a world where women rule, firstly as party malkins. So the troops are owned by one or two or three women who are sisters, mother, daughter, aunt, niece, or simply friends. And they own the musical instruments, they buy the instruments, and they are responsible. They are like party leaders. And they are also malkins because they take charge of the money, the financial parts, and then they distribute it. And also the license, the performing license, and the instruments are in their name. because there is revenue sharing, as dancers and singers also, they command and demand that attention. They are entrepreneurs because, as you saw, in every theater there are 10 troops. So whichever troop gets maximum number of baitaks in a day, they become the richest. So there is a competition between troops. So when the customers walk in, who they will select. And there is business for every party. I mean, very few parties do not so well because there is so much demand. And also, the competitive spirit makes them better their art. That today, this party on stage, she performed something. So tomorrow, I will also show my artistry. And that type of competitive spirit is there. They are the sole breadwinners of their families. And if you visit their homes, you'll realize that it's not just a theoretical thing, but they are the owners of, I mean, they are the kartas of their households. So all the decisions are taken after asking them. And you quickly realize what the power dynamics is. Coming to the economics of these spaces. So when we saw the part about private performance, whatever is the rate, suppose it's 5,000 rupees per hour, then that 5,000 rupees is split between the party and the theater. So 2,500 rupees goes to the theater owner, and the balance 2,500 is distributed among the 15 members of the troupe in the predetermined ratios. And those ratios are also more or less common. The women artists get 2 shares and the male artists get 1.5 shares. So you would know, now you would have realized that the theater owners are the wealthiest community. And till 1980, all the theaters were owned by men. And those men were also not from the community. They were not from the artist community. They looked at it purely as a business. They created this, they constructed the theater and they invited performing troops and they started this as a business center. But after 1980, many dancer women who had accumulated enough wealth, they built their own theaters. And today, out of the 45 to 50 theaters, 15 theaters are owned by women. And they all are done. I mean, they have been dancers in the earlier life. This is Rajashri Nagarkar. This is Nani. Her real name is, I forgot, we call her Nani only. And that's Surekhabai Pawar. So what is the role of men in these spaces? So firstly, they are sathidas, they are music accompanists. So although they are paid 1.5 share, their role is very crucial because the song and dance is incomplete without their live performance, live music. So they are one of the pillars of these spaces. Then there are helper boys, helper men. Each party has 1 or 2 helper boys who do all the other chores like going to the market, getting chai, serving, cleaning, all those things are done by them. There are shahirs, the lyricists. So traditionally, and in fact that tradition still continues, 99% of the times, Lavani songs are written by men. Theater owners, out of 45, the balance 30 plus theaters are still owned by men. And the most important part of the entire economy is the customer who pays and because of whose money the things function. Now let's see what is the relationship of Lavani and Mumbai. Mumbai was a big center of Lavani before 1980. And all these artists would really aspire to come to Mumbai and perform. There were many places in Mumbai. There was Pila House Theatre, there was Bangadiwala Theatre. There were many other small performance places where many things would happen simultaneously. I mean, in one room there would be Jalsa, in the other room there would be Kavalis, Thumris, Mujras, and there was Lavani and Tamasha also. But there was one theater in Mumbai which was exclusively only for Tamasha and Lavani, and that was New Hanuman Theatre. And the gentleman whose image is there on the screen, his name is Madhukar Nerale. He is still the owner of this theater. He's the second generation owner. So his father had started this theater, and they this theater, he was one of the few theater owners who had a great sense of business and art. So he knew exactly what the artists need to better their art, and he would take care of that, and he would make sure that the artists are learning new songs and they are perfecting their art. And he was a very disciplined man, so it was a privilege to work under him, and many artists owe their artistry to him even today, all the older artists. But what happened was, after 1990, the business in Mumbai, everywhere else it is still going on, but in Mumbai, the demand reduced to a great extent, and he had to take this commercial decision of closing down the theater. He closed it down, but now it's turned into a Mangal Karyalaya, or a wedding hall, and it still continues to be. It is there in Chivda Galli, which is now Lal Bagh Sa Raja, wherever that place is. It's just behind that place in the Chivda Galli, very close to Dr. Ambedkar Road. But after 1990, new centers came up. I mean, these centers were already there, but Lavani artists started performing in these spaces after 1990. Maya Jadhav and Surekha Punekar after 1996. They became very popular. And the shows, the banner shows, which is like a 3 hour or 2.5 hours ticketed performance place, they started having more and more shows and houseful shows. So this image is taken outside. I mean, it's the premises of Damodar Hall, Parel. This is their booking office, and Lavani shows still happen, but now, as I said, it's closed down for some time for repairs. Sometimes means they are saying it's 2 years, because it's a complete redevelopment of the place. And in Sangeet Bari, currently there are 5 to 6 thousand of artists who are performing. And in this banner show zone, a similar number of artists are performing. So between banner shows and even in Tamasha, same. So together, if you combine all these three spaces of Lavani, more than 15,000 artists are currently practicing this art form, either as dancers, singers, or music accompanist. So let's see some elements of Lavani especially in Sangeet Bari space. So you saw that in Sangeet Bari there are stage shows, and there is also private performance rooms. In either of the spaces, there is no sound system. So they rely on the natural sound. And if you see this pipette, the organ-like instrument, dolki, tabla, and the heavy ghungroos, they all create so much sound that the singer has to raise her voice beyond that in order to be even audible. And that's why they have a high pitch, and their voice is also very loud. So here also I would like to share one incident. Once I had taken few friends to see to see a baitak of Lavani, and the baitak lasted for an hour. And after that, the artist realized that one of my friends is a trained classical singer. So, and they knew him. So they requested him ki, now you have listened to our songs. Now we will also like to listen to what you would present. So he was happy. Artists are always happy to perform. So he got up and he stood next to the organ guy, and he matched all those scales, Kali, Char, Pandris, whatever he said that. And then they started playing, and he started singing. And it's just a 10 by 10 room. And we are wondering, why is he just lip syncing? Why is he not singing? But the truth was, he was actually singing, but we were not able to hear because the sound of the instruments was so high that it was just impossible to hear what he was singing. So, and when you will visit, and I hope you will visit this space, you will realize the loud voice that they have. There are different types of Lavanis which are still presented. Some are very slow paced and some are very fast. And one important and interesting thing is, uh, although these are Lavani theaters, the customers demand any type of song. So there are film song demand, the farmaish, any song. It can be bhajan, natya geet, bhav geet, Hindi film songs, any song. But the beauty is the artists render it in Lavani style. And there is a small video, you'll get to see it. But rather than video, I would be happy if you actually visit and see it live. Stop and start. This is one of the techniques that the Lavani dancers use because their main job is to keep the people interested and engaged. So they use various techniques. So during the performance, they stop the song and they start interacting. And when that banter, when that interaction feels that, okay, abhi bahut hua, it's enough, they stop it and immediately pick up the line from which they left and they continue the song. Ghoravne, it is more like Gatabhav or Vinyasa, which is taking one word and showing different aspects of that one word, showing all the different meanings and different shades of that word. Use of body parts, Lavani, there is no restriction. Like in after post sanitization of the classical art forms, now breast movements, hip movements, use of tongue, use of eyes in a particular way is not accepted in classical dances now. But in Lavani, there is no such restriction. And there are Lavani songs written about various things. So one of the themes is also menstruation. Now let's see our role and our mission for Lavani. So when we started these shows, we realized that the form has a lot of potential. When we conduct Lavani workshops, all the participants, whether they are housewives, um, dancers, singers, artists, college boys, college girls, everybody feels empowered after they go through the thing. They feel liberated. So the art form definitely has a potential, but because it has been unidirectional, like men watch, women perform. So our effort is to let everybody watch and let everybody enjoy that erotic and sensuous nature of this art form and the connecting and the captivating nature. And our experiences, people do enjoy and people do feel connected. And in fact, it crosses the boundaries of region, cultures, and language. Because when the artist emotes and performs, it's the feeling or the expression that is uh, carried on. So if you understand the language, great. But even if you don't understand the language, you can still enjoy this. We also collaborated with this online portal called Agents of Ish, and we created two music videos. One was on consent, a woman's consent, and the other one is about police complaint. This was more challenging because consent was still very much in the zone of Lavani, which is sexual, sensual. But complaint Lavani is about what happens when women go to the police station and lodge complaint, whether they are treated well, how they are treated, and what can be done to avoid those type of treatment. So both these videos are available on YouTube and request you to watch it. Let me take you through our shows which are currently running. This is Lavani Ke Rang, which we performed recently in St. Petersburg. This production has also won 2 Meta Awards, Mahindra Excellence in Theatre Awards. This is Gitanjali Kulkarni. So she is the only actor on stage. All the other artists are Lavani dancers and they play their own role. And she takes a character of a theatre malkin and she orients the audience and she narrates and then the Lavani song happens. And in this show, we show various types of Lavani songs. This is Shakuntalabai Nagarkar, Pushpa Satarkar, Gitanjali Gauri Jadhav. Love and Lavani is a theatre production. It is based on my book Sangeet Bari, and it captures the real life love story of a Kalvat dancer called Shabana Bai Ashturkar. And Anita Date and Sambhaji Sasane play the anchors, and they also take characters of that love story. And like in a Bollywood film, people like after every incidents in her life, a Lavani song comes and the story goes on. So we have also shown the ritual where they marry themselves, like it's a single soul marriage. We also come to people's homes and perform. These are some of the images, or not just homes, but corporate offices and libraries, various seminars, festivals. So here you will see a glimpse of Lavani, Hindi songs rendered in Lavani style. Sorry. We also have, by the way, she was only singing and dancing. So that is another speciality of Lavani where many artists can sing and dance simultaneously. We also have this session called Kahin Pyar Ho Na Jaye, which is like a lecture demo where I take people through a similar kind of presentation. But after every part, there is a break, and Shakuntala Bai or Gauri or Pushpa or maybe more of them, they perform on recorded tracks. As I said earlier, we conduct Lavani dance workshops, Lavani singing workshops. I take Lavani lyrics writing workshops. This is briefly about our group. It's called B-Spot Productions. Our Instagram followers are very few because I am very lazy and bad at social media management. But please follow this page. And we have our creative producers Gitanjali Kulkarni, Kunal Vijaykar, Anita Date. This is a quick snapshot. You can take a picture. This is where we will be performing in next 1 month. So just tomorrow, if you or your friends happen to be in Pune, we are performing at the Box. We have 2 shows. On 1st of December, we are again performing in Pune. On 7th of December in Kolkata. And on 12th, 13th, and 14th in Mumbai. And also on 2nd December, I forgot to add that I am conducting Lavani lyrics writing workshop in Pune. So this is the calendar. And thank you very much. Now we can open it for the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Bhushanji, for such a fascinating talk.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for choosing this topic too, because we've never had a talk on such topic before, and it was enlightening because not much of us, when heritage or history comes to us, we go to typical things, or the ones that we've learned in our books and things like that. Arts and performing arts, fine arts is not really looked up onto, but this has been really amazing to hear from you and the efforts that goes behind in the performance. I will go to the chat box and read certain comments and questions that have come across.
Sure.
Starting with Jyoti Kerkar, she says that she had actually thought about the answer, the question that you had asked about, so she had almost guessed it. Vivek Mendonça says that can you share the theater addresses
Sure.
in Mumbai, where the ones that you mentioned. So
Yes.
either Vivek ji can get in touch with you, or maybe you can.
Yes.
Yeah, can he get?
Yeah.
He can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Everybody can get in touch with me. I'll be happy.
So we'll share the contact
Yeah.
again. And Dhara Patel has also replied to the same comment saying if you're from Pune tomorrow, so she has spoken about the show that is happening in Pune. and he's really looking forward to the same. Jyoti Kerkar says, if this started in 13th century, the Lavani, who was ruling then?
Who was ruler?
Who was ruling at that point if this started in 13th century?
Okay, I have to research on that.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Shailesh says interesting research and information. Somebody by AS Initial says very interesting talk, learning many new things about Lavani. There's someone saying thank you very much, very insightful talk. Again, there's a thing saying, is Sawal Jawab also a form of Lavani, similar to
Yes.
consent Lavani? Have seen some old Marathi films having Lavnis featuring Jayashree Gadkar.
Yes, yes. In fact, many Marathi films had popularized this particular form of Lavani, Sawal Jawab, or it was also known as Jhagdachi Lavani. And it was more commonly performed in the Dholki Tamacha format, not so much in Sangeet.
Understood. Okay, fine. I
So
want
it
to
was a
ask
very interesting form because one party would raise a poetic question and the other competitor party would respond to them in poetry. And it was a not every time, but sometimes it used to be a spontaneous on the spot improvisation exercise.
Yeah, so you wouldn't prepare already for it. It would just
Yes, yeah,
improvise as
because
the
it's like a
question.
riddle, poetic riddle and question, and then you would have to respond in a poetic and dancical and musical.
Understood. Okay.
No,
So
it's not there. I just read. It doesn't exist now, unfortunately. Yeah.
You were answering Sonali's question, is it?
No. Jyoti Kerkar asked whether it's still in existence, Sawal Jawab. So not so much. Very rarely you would see that. And only in Dolki Fadacha Tamasha.
Okay, okay. So Nali has asked, what are your views on the depiction of Lavani dancers in popular cinema? Do you think that popular cinema has shaped people's perception about the dancers in a sympathetic manner, or have they not?
So they have shown Lavani dancers always in two extremes. Either they are frivolous and bad women, or they are victims. So, and the reality lies somewhere in between. So they have never, in fact, there was this very popular film called Pinjra, which was by V. Shantaram. Very beautiful film, which was based on some other film, I guess. But in one of the Lavani dancers, in my initial years of research, when I was talking to her, she said that why that director never wanted to look at things from the dancer Sandhya's character's point of view. Why did they show that the school teacher's life is destroyed because he falls in love with a Lavani dancer? I feel even the Lavani dancer's life is destroyed because she falls in love with the school teacher. So why not show that? So this is a very valid question. And I feel it's very important that they are only raising them rather than some academician or somebody from outside world looking at it in that way. I mean, of course, that is also important, but it's important that they also feel that uh, the representation is not complete or it's quite unidirectional.
Right. Agreed to your viewpoint. Sarika says very interesting information. Thank you so much for sharing the same. Sonali Chatterjee has also thanked you. Jyoti Kayakar says, other than Nath, is there a Dagina particular for Lavani? Kamarpatta is what she knows.
Yes, Nath and Kamarpatta are very peculiar and usually they would always wear these two for sure. Apart from bangles and earrings and necklaces and hair uh, ornaments.
Okay. Are bugdis and all also the ear thing that they
Yes,
wear is
yeah,
a part
yeah,
of?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. In case if there are no more questions, with this we come to an end of the talk. Thank you
Sure.
so much again, Bhushanji, for accepting our invitation and for doing this talk for Khaki. There is one more question. How are nachas viewed?
So Nacha or the Maushi was not there in Sangeet Bari. It was never there. But in Dholki Fadacha Tamasha, there would be a an artist or a few artists who would take up that role, and they would also do some other roles. It's not that there were exclusive nachas always. So sometimes people, the films also romanticize a particular aspect of a
Right.
form. So this is what probably happened because uh, whoever I interacted with, and as I said, my uh, work is only with Sangeet Bari artists, so I don't have much of that information. And I know for sure that in Sangeet Bari there was there was this concept was not there, but in the Dolki Fadasa Tamasha it was there. Uh, but again, whoever I spoke to, they said that there were not many exclusive nachas who would always be in the character. So
Okay.
they would take up different roles, and yeah.
When you said that films romanticize the concept of nachas, can Natrang also qualify for the?
I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know the answer to this question.
okay, okay, okay. So Jyoti Kerkar says thanks Kaki and Bhushan sir for doing this talk. Gaurav Mathur also says good job Kaki and Roping and Bhushan for the talk. Thank you so much
Thank
to all
you.
the audience who've joined us today and have been patient throughout. And again, thank you so much Bhushan ji for doing this talk for
Thank
us.
you, all of you. Thank you, Amrita. Thank you, Bharat,
Welcome.
and thank you to all those who attended this session.